The Hunters and the Hunt. The Hunters are a group of warriors who are dedicated to keeping their region safe by hunting down beasts, or anything other than beasts if need be, that pose a threat. Hunters are agile fighters armed with a trick weapon, a transforming melee weapon in the right hand, and a firearm in the left. They do not employ shields, but rather take advantage of their mobility in order to avoid attacks. Hunters exist throughout the world, and are not exclusive to Yharnam, since a number of characters such as the protagonist and Eileen come from the outside world and are yet still recognized as hunters. However, it is believed that the Hunters started out as a branch of the Healing Church very much like the Choir. This would mean that, at least in Yharnam, Hunters were recruited by either Gurman or the church itself. The city of Yharnam. Yharnam is a towering, labyrinthine Gothic city, home to both the Healing Church and the Blood Ministrations. As no evidence of the existence of a ruling body is provided in the game, one may presume that the Healing Church controls the city, at least indirectly. The church focuses around healing by infusions of blood. Miraculously, blood healing can repair wounds and cure or hinder diseases. Yharnam's whole culture became focused on blood, even to the point of blood-based drinks surpassing alcoholic beverages as the most commonly consumed. Yharnam's populace is apparently viewed as insane or degenerate by the wider world, and the citizens have become extremely distrustful of non-natives as a result. The Red Moon. The Red Moon is a nightmare revealed after slaying Rom, the vacuous spider who had placed a veil over the world to keep the secret of the true nature of the world from its residents. The servants of Amygdala become fully powered, the beasts become more ravenous, and the children of Amygdala are visible at last. In this nightmare, the world reveals the eldritch abominations it has been truly hiding. As a result, everything gets worse, and the character sees the world as they would if they had amassed 40 insight. Unfortunately, by killing Rom, you usher in the Red Moon, which is believed by some to be the coming of Eden. It is not clear that Eden is the moon presence, but he very well could be. The umbilical cords. While this presents a weird part of the story, it is a known fact that 75% of the game's umbilical cords can be found on women or children. During the Red Moon, Iosefka's dialogue suggests that she has become pregnant, and Ariana gets pregnant as well. You also find a cord from defeating Murgo's wet nurse. This suggests that Eden impregnates women on the Red Moon. The criteria of these women who are impregnated has not been determined. It also seems to be that the Great Ones impregnate women to have surrogate children. It is worth noting that one of the 4 umbilical cords is in the abandoned workshop, very near the doll, the scourge of the beast. The most common form of the blood sickness appears to be lycanthropy, humans slowly turning into wolves. Those in the early stages of the sickness have lengthened canine teeth and grow more hair. As they progress, their arms and legs lengthen, and the spine hunches over, and the face begins to elongate. Eventually, they grow fur, and their body finishes the change into a scourge beast. Along with the physical transformation comes a mental degradation. At first, the victim assumes all people they don't know are hostile, and they'll attack on sight. As the alterations progress, the victim becomes more and more savage and hostile, until it can only stand to be around others exactly like it, as regular humans appear to be beasts through their own blood-addled eyes. Sometimes individuals react strangely to the blood. Some become unique beasts, and it's rumored that infected clerics of the Healing Church become the largest of the monsters when they succumb to the madness, as seen in Lawrence, Ludwig, the Vicar Amelia, etc. The blood sickness seems to be endemic to Yharnam, requiring periodic hunts for those very far gone. The hunters are both respected and feared. They bring down the worst of the beasts, but are at risk of contamination themselves. Administration and the Healing Church. Perhaps the most influential of the organizations, the Healing Church was founded in the wake of the Choir. There were 3 echelons to the church: black-garbed hunters, white-garbed doctors, and the Choir. Though they did not spring from Byrgenwerth directly, they were explorers who found the labyrinth in the wake of that place and discovered the same remnants of the truth, and used the research done there already to kick off their own research. However, their form of metamorphosis began with blood ministrations and their research experiments with the blood. Master Lawrence, the founder of the Healing Church, and one of Master Willem's apprentices, believed that in order to transcend humanity, they had to research blood healing using old blood. During the times of Byrgenwerth, Master Willem taught all of his students to blindfold themselves so that they can look into oneself, and that they needed to line their brain with eyes in order to see what the Great Ones see and acquire more eldritch knowledge, also known as insight, to further evolve into greater beings. With insight, they were able to see the world for what it is, beyond human comprehension. One of the most important of Willem's teachings is the Byrgenwerth adage, "Fear the old blood." For only Willem respects and fears the true nature of the old blood in the beginning. According to the memory shown by the skull in the altar of the Grand Cathedral, Master Lawrence strayed from Master Willem's teachings and their paths eventually diverged. Lawrence chose a different path to use the old blood for his experiments in order to move forward, disregarding the adage, "Fear the old blood." He then founded the Healing Church and spread the teachings of the art of blood ministration. Later on, as blood healing became more common among the citizens of Yharnam, some citizens began transforming into beasts. At this point, Master Lawrence discovered his mistake of using old blood, for when it is mixed with human blood, it transforms subjects into beast. This is where Yharnam's plague of beasts started. We can tell that Master Lawrence deeply regrets his decision of using old blood through his notes around the lecture building. These notes also leave clues what one must do to transcend the hunt, which he later found out after realizing his mistakes. Master Willem was right. Evolution without courage will be the ruin of our race. Hunt the great ones. Hunt the great ones. 3/3 umbilical cords, from the Carol rune beast. Beast is one of the early Carol runes, as well as one of the first to be deemed forbidden. The discovery of blood entailed the discovery of undesirable beasts. The choir, the cosmos, and Ebrietas. The leaders of the Healing Church, the choir, differentiate themselves from the rest of the members of the church as they receive teachings directly from Ebrietas. Ebrietas, daughter of the cosmos, is a celestial being who emerged from the depth of the old labyrinth and acted as a source of knowledge to the Healing Church, with seemingly no ill will, thus furthering the notion that the Great Ones are sympathetic to humans. Not only did Ebrietas grant members of the choir profound knowledge, but she also further convinced them that they could commune with the Great Ones and learn the eldritch truth. They believed they could ascend to the cosmos, or at least make contact with it, and it came in a sudden and unexpected realization that perhaps while their feet were rooted to the ground, the cosmos was not immeasurably far away, but right above their heads. Together with Ebrietas, the choir worked tirelessly to understand the Great One's truth, the School of Mensis and the Mensis ritual. Members of the School of Mensis desperately seek communion with the Great Ones, to the point of near, if not, insanity. Typically found wearing Mensis cages, a follower of the School of Mensis could be distinguished from a normal person from a mile away. But they certainly don't care about other humans' opinions as much as they do the Great Ones. Despite sharing the same goal with the Healing Church, the School of Mensis and the Healing Church do not seem to get along. This is indicated by the corpse of a choir member locked away in the unseen village, which happens to be founded and controlled by the School of Mensis. The founder of the School of Mensis, Mikolash, seems to have telepathic powers, being able to plant nightmares and illusions into the minds of his victims. This might indicate the School of Mensis having foul intent if they succeed in communicating with the Great Ones. They may have turned the knowledge and power they obtained onto the people, which would explain the tension between them and the Healing Church. The pertinent umbilical cord for the School of Mensis's description reads as follows after obtaining it from Murgo's wet nurse in the nightmare. Every Great One loses its child and then yearns for a surrogate. This cord granted Mensis audience with Murgo, but resulted in the stillbirth of their brains. When Mikolash and his ilk used this cord to commune with the infant Great One, they discovered that the power was too much, and it killed the whole School of Mensis, locking the survivors in the nightmare realm that Mikolash controls and driving them all insane. Whether or not this was intended by Murgo is up for debate. Canehurst, the Vilebloods, and the Executioners. In Canehurst Castle, Queen Annalise was a ruler over many nobles and dandies, the first Vileblood that partook in corrupted blood from Byrgenwerth. Having the ability to extract the essence of hunter's blood, Queen Annalise ordered her followers to hunt down hunters without scruple, and gained notoriety for her insatiable hunger for blood. Annalise consumed the blood offerings brought back by her servants, and eventually became immortal due to her vile predations. A timeless society of vampire-like entities was formed in Canehurst Castle thereafter. It was a place of refinement and sophistication, and the occasional beast that arose from the foul practice was dispatched discreetly as well as gracefully. Such is the Canehurst way. Those who served the Queen did so out of loyalty, fear, and an unending desire to taste her blood, and settled with various Carol runes that improved visceral attacks as a cheap substitute, as described in the runes' texts. Queen Annalise hoped desperately one day to bear a true heir, and dubbed this the Child of Blood, which she sought to have at all costs. She sent her vile-bloods to hunt for her, and all hoped that, with enough blood dregs, she could birth a child of blood. However, the justice-seeking knight commander known as Master Logarius took these practices as an affront, and founded the executioners, bloodthirsty zealots looking to kill vile-bloods at all costs. Eventually they stormed Canehurst Castle, eliminating everyone inside with extreme prejudice. Ironically, the executioners slew all the maids they could find, who likely had nothing to do with Annalise's malevolence, but could not harm Annalise due to her immortality. Seeing no other option, Master Logarius sent his executioners away and martyred himself in order to prevent Annalise from ever escaping. He stands guard in front of Annalise's tower forever, sealed off with the crown of illusion, so that none could enter again. Notable hunters and NPCs. German, the first hunter. In time, a man named German would rise to the task of the beast problem. German redesigned common clothing to provide better defense against the beast's claws, and also created the burial blade, a unique weapon capable of transforming during battle to cater to German's need for a short or long weapon. German's work was so admired as well as effective that his burial blade would become the basis for all hunter armament technology, later known as trick weapons. German was also a formidable fighter whose school of thought would become mandatory in any hunter's fighting style when facing the horrors of the hunt. While it doesn't say specifically, there is a heavy implication that German was hired by the Healing Church to work in the workshop due to his role as an inventor, since his workplace is directly beneath the Healing Church's Aden Chapel. German worked in the workshop, presumably until his death. He took many apprentices, who all did his duty in his honor, and may well have died long ago. The bone in the workshop graveyard was one of such apprentices, who had mastered the art of quickening, allowing him to move at incredible speeds. Periodically, the doll can be seen mourning at the same grave from which the bone is retrieved, leading some to speculate that this hunter was incredibly powerful, and was one of the few to get close to defeating the moon presence, making it possible that he was a viable replacement surrogate to take German's place in the dream. The description of the umbilical cord found in the old abandoned workshop states, "Every great one loses its child, and then yearns for a surrogate." The third umbilical cord precipitated the encounter with the pale moon, which beckoned the hunters and conceived the hunter's dream. According to this umbilical cord, we can infer that German became the substitute child of the moon presence, or that German was the one who summoned the moon presence itself, and was then chosen. There are a few ways this could go, depending on who summoned the moon presence. There just hasn't been enough lore discovered to fit any one claim of the creation of the hunter's dream. For what purpose does the surrogate child exist? Could this mean that they possess some emotions, or is it for an entirely different reason? We may never know for sure. Secret dialogue of German that strongly suggests that he is trapped in the hunter's dream for far too long and wants someone to free him. It also seems that he knows Master Willem and Lawrence during times of Bergenworth from this dialogue. Ludwig, first hunter of the Church. Ludwig was acknowledged as the first hunter of the Healing Church. Ludwig fought with heavy weapons that were meant to mortally wound his enemies, an irony since the Healing Church is normally dedicated to saving lives. Nonetheless, this became a tradition among church hunters, who employed heavy weapons just like Ludwig did. Moreover, Ludwig is also likely the first to recruit normal Yarnamites to join the hunter's rank, since the beasts are many. Eventually he fell victim to the old blood and changed into a monstrous beast wielding the holy moonlight blade. Eileen the Crow. In time, hunters needed to receive blood ministrations in order to compete with the beasts they hunted, as a kind of all-or-nothing gamble. However, many hunters would fail and become obsessed with, infected by, and eventually overcome by the blood, becoming beasts themselves. For this, the hunter of hunters did their duty, ending the lives of these madmen with grace and dignity. Eileen Sett says that they were buried in a foreign and respectful way, rather than the vile way of Yarnum, which I assume is cremation on a pyre or cross, and references a sky burial, which is a practice in which a body is dismembered and left out for the carrion birds, such as a crow, to eat. However, there is one interesting note. It says that the hope for the sky burial is that the hunters would find rest and solace in a hunter's dream. This leads to some fairly open-ended speculation on what the dream actually is, or means. The player. The player is a foreigner who has journeyed to Yarnum in search of curing an unspecified disease with Yarnum's famous blood ministration. Seeking pale blood, the protagonist signs a contract with a man in a wheelchair, who some speculate is Carol the runesmith, vowing to serve the city of Yarnum as a hunter. Jura, retired hunter. A member of the Powdered Kegs, Jura renounced his title of hunter when he failed to protect Old Yarnum. Stubborn as always, Jura remained in Old Yarnum as he watched the inhabitants of his town slowly decayed into beasts, but insists on protecting them nonetheless. Since the Powdered Kegs are rejected from the workshop, Jura does not have much mercy or respect for the workshop conformists, and wouldn't mind shedding the blood of a few trespassers who will raise their blade against what used to be his friends. Alfred. Alfred is a hunter as well as an executioner. He is sworn to slay beasts as well as the vile bloods of Canehurst Castle sworn to Queen Annalise. Although the executioners are better known for their resolution, their ferocious penchant for killing, and their merciless nature, Alfred is surprisingly jolly, and asks to befriend the player and to be comrades in arms against the scourge of the vile bloods and the beasts alike. Father Gascoigne and Henrik. Father Gascoigne came from a foreign land where he was referred to as Father, leading to the belief that he was a cleric or a priest in his former home. No rank or title in Yarnum is referred to as Father, which implies he obtained this title before coming to Yarnum. Gascoigne had been living with the blood sickness for quite some time, which may have had something to do with his relocation to Yarnum and the joining of the healing church. It is unclear whether he had the sickness before coming to Yarnum, but he had the sickness long before he met the player. As a powerful hunter, he is able to contain his beastly form, even though he is infected. He seems to have set aside his affiliation with the healing church to become a hunter, seen by his hunter axe and pistol. On the other hand, he seems to be eliminating everyone who tries to enter the tomb of Odin, and is in possession of the key to the tomb's gate that leads to Cathedral Ward. So it might be that the church has employed him to protect their headquarters from the scourge. He is, or once was, a black cleric, which is apparent by his garb. Church hunters who wear black garb are notorious for targeting potential victims before signs of sickness manifest themselves. This can explain his paranoid behavior towards you before the battle, saying, "You'll be one of them, sooner or later." His mania may have been a result of his progressive transformation taking a toll on his mind, or of him succumbing to the bloodlust of the hunt. After helping the player defeat the cleric beast, it seems Father Gascoigne made his way to the tomb of Eden. It seems either his condition started to worsen and dramatically reduce his sanity, or he had a change of heart. Either way, at that point he saw all people infected by the plague as beasts. His is more closely related to the curse having a toll on his mind due to the fact that the townsfolk view you in the same manner. Though once his mind became warped like this, his wife Viola would always play the music box to somehow restore his sanity and humanity. Notice this time you do not find the music box near. Thus, Gascoigne attacked his own wife, killing her, and in turn allowing the curse to fully overtake his body. Once you've obtained the music box, Gascoigne is far too gone to return back to himself. Though the box still has effects on him, it cannot impede the ailment any longer. This is why he transforms into a lichen-like beast once he is near death, or much faster if exposed to the music box's now haunting melody. Henrik is an old hunter, partner of Gascoigne. The duo fought together for a long time, but very little is known about him otherwise, unfortunately making him a basic cliff note in the history of Yharnam, though his garb mentions that something happened as a result of Henric's partnership with Gascoigne, leading Henric to have a tragically long life. Willem, head scholar of Bergenworth. Whereas it is unknown what exactly did Master Willem uncover, one thing is clear. He is a crucial figure whose wisdom heavily influenced the teachings of the Healing Church, and everyone is grateful for his contributions. Even members of the choir are required to pay tribute to him. His teachings eventually branched out to organizations such as the choir and the School of Mensis, which continued his research, and many of their experiments made progress. Master Willem's most important teaching is the adage, "Fear the old blood." He encourages all the scholars of his college to seek enlightenment and ascension through other methods, except using the old blood. We know that Lawrence used old blood because he thinks that it is key for humanity's ascension, which is why Master Willem felt betrayed, since Lawrence didn't follow the "fear the old blood" adage. So Lawrence found the Healing Church and made blood ministration the cornerstone of the church. Master Willem is acquainted with German, and likely lived in the same age as him. How exactly does he manage to live this long remains a mystery. The umbilical cord third that is found on the corpse of the impostor Iosefka reads as such: Provost Willem sought the cord in order to elevate his being and thoughts to those of a great one, by lining his brain with eyes. The only choice he knew, if man were to ever match their greatness. So it is possible he communed with a great one just like the Pthumerians of old, and was able to obtain his long life through the secrets of whichever great one he spoke with, Rom, Carol, the runesmith. Carol was a member of the workshop that was able to hear the voice of Eden, and managed to inscribe his words into runes, which, according to item descriptions, would have made Willem proud because it was power without using blood. While the runes themselves are a singular thing, their descriptions are incredibly varied, and more so tend to tinge the lore here and there with extra information.